a new microphone, so hopefully the sound quality might be better on this video. Anyway, this is this beautiful lake that is just right by the center of town. Absolutely stunning. And you'll notice that I have retired the black hat that I was wearing. It was one, kind of gnarly, and two, the visor I found out was a little bit short for New Zealand, and my face was starting to get sunburned with it, so went and upgraded to a New Zealand hat. So Taupo is actually, I think it's called Taupo. It's again, not pronounced anything like we Westerners think it's spelled, but I am going to spend a couple of days here tomorrow seeing a rock carving, and I might make it to a waterfall before I go on to the next city. So this is a beautiful Maori sculpture, apparently commemorating the descendants of the two tribes from Rotorua and Taupo. Oop, I thought that seagull might stay longer, but I guess not. It's worth noting that as I'm walking down the waterfront here, I was just laughed at by a couple of Kiwis because with my New Zealand hat and my camera and my selfie stick, clearly I look like a giant tourist. So I mentioned in another video that one of the things that I love about New Zealand is you can be sightseeing and enjoying yourself and suddenly realize that you need to go pee, and boom, there's a restroom, and you know it'll be reliable and clean. Yay! So traveling in New Zealand has been kind of interesting, and I'm walking through the park now. Usually I got used to sort of last minute go with the flow travel where I kind of wake up one day and I think, you know, I think I'll just go there tomorrow or later today, and then figure out accommodation, all good. But when I first got to New Zealand, I couldn't find anything either things were booked out for a week or certainly the affordable options. And I had to do all this advanced planning, which I found a little bit disruptive. And now, because of COVID, I'm not competing with all of the normal tourists. So actually, last minute go with the flow travel may actually be possible, which was fun. And I was just thinking about how, you know, one of the luxuries of being nomadic and being able to take my time in places is that I don't have to book up. You know, I think when you go on vacation, you want to make sure you hit all the top sites, and you go on some website and you book tours, and, you know, especially if you're traveling on a budget, it is so much better to wait till you arrive at the place you're going and go into either the local tourist office or ask at a hostel or your hotel what activities you can do, because usually you'll find the same activities you pay a bundle for online available in country for a heck of a lot cheaper, and that's really most countries. Plus, you know, there's often different providers to different tourist places, and they run different rates, and the tours can be completely different, so it's kind of worth being informed and getting some more information before you go. I'm just noticing a really cool graffiti that I'm going to show you, so hold on. I don't know if I can really call that graffiti. It's quite pretty. Wow. Just here in the middle of the park. This is a lovely monument to, I cannot pronounce his name correctly, Sri Chinmoy, it looks like, who dedicated himself to world peace. I think we could use that in the world these days. I've been quite intrigued how in New Zealand there are a lot of monarch butterflies, which are typical of South America, and I'm not quite sure how they got here. If they got on a boat or flew over here, that would be some flight. Hey, if you're a fan of Netflix's The Queen's Gambit, here you go. So I don't know what makes this a super loo, but unlike the free ones, you have to pay 50 cents to get in this one. So if you read my post on Whangarei, which I will post a link to underneath this video, you'll know that back in March when I came up north on my bus, I passed the town, and it looks really cool, and I thought I should stay a night. And I thought when I went to Whangarei that was that town, and it wasn't. Turns out it was Taupo, and here I am. So if I understand this correctly, this commemorates the founders of the town of Taupo. And Taupo apparently, so when they got here and they created sort of a settlement, they decided that night was falling and they should stop and stay the night. And so Taupo apparently means, I guess, stop and settle. So kind of cool. So this is a bit of the story about this monument that I just showed you, and you can press pause on the video and read it at your leisure. I just thought it was kind of an interesting story and talks a little bit about myth and legend, and very cool. So I'm now attempting to walk to Huka Falls from the center of Taupo, and it's kind of fascinating that I'm like in this kind of industrial area and I'm about to go into nature like across the street. Found that. So here's across the street. This is not Huka Falls, but it looks kind of like it should be. But this is the trail to get there. Apparently 6 kilometers, so I'm not sure I'm gonna go all the way, but we shall see. So I was thinking today about one of the gifts of traveling a lot, which is reconnecting with your own feelings. At least that's been one for me, getting more powerfully in touch with what you want, and also the power of choice. And the way that came up recently this week, so it is just about Christmas, and I am staying at a youth hostel in Taupo, and tomorrow I leave for Napier to spend Christmas at an Airbnb with a couple I've never met. And so I got friendly with some of the people at the hostel. They're really nice, and apparently they're doing a potluck. So potluck dinner, there's like all the people that I have met, including some great people from France, are gonna get together and just eat and share community and time together. And it sounds like this awesome experience. And, you know, for a short while I got tied up in, oh, you know, should I cancel my Airbnb and stay here? And then of course I feel bad that I canceled. And of course it's like before I quit, you know, my job, about the creating the obligations in your life and then feeling like you can't undo them, and that all comes up. And this is another reason that I love the kind of last minute slow travel approach, because then when things like this happen, you can sort of spontaneously just be like, I'm in or I'm out. And actually I can do that anyway, but it feels more like I don't have to worry about the impact of someone else. However, after I spent some time sort of like, oh, what should I do? I took a moment, I realized I connected to my feelings. And what I feel, for whatever reason, is that I should be continuing on in my travels to Napier. And I love the idea of a communal Christmas dinner with people from, you know, different countries that are stuck for one reason or another because of the pandemic. And I love that idea. I think it's awesome. And so I realized how powerful it is that I can love that idea, I can do that idea, and I can also choose to do something else. And so I felt really good about it. So just reflecting on that as one of the many benefits of travel and processes that I offer you too, if you're ever stuck between two great choices, just to come back to what you feel about each choice as a way of making a great decision. Here's a little look at the water here. see that probably not a good idea to stand at the very edge. And I have to say it is quite weird to be walking completely by myself on this trail, and I may choose not to do it. So I'm gonna walk a little bit further and then make a judgment call. All right, well, this is a 6-kilometer walk. It is Christmas time. There's nobody here. And you know, New Zealand is reputed as extremely safe, and I probably am safe, but going with how I feel, I just don't feel comfortable walking 12K round trip, possibly by myself. So I am going to turn back. The town of Taupo is pretty lovely here. It's kind of, you know, I think initially I was surprised at how much it feels a bit like a suburban town and a bit industrial, and yet it has these pockets of like charming stores, charming restaurants, and I mean just minutes outside the center is this beautiful nature, and you have the Maori rock carvings, and you have the beautiful park and the view of the lake. So all in all, I think this is a lovely place to stop by for a couple of days. And I will say lodging was, it is Christmas time, it's high season, so it was pretty expensive. Obviously, youth hostel is going to cost you a lot less money than a hotel. I will put some links in the description of this video, so if you do come to Taupo, you know where to start looking, and we'll see where I get next. In the meantime, wow, this is just so pretty. I think the clouds kind of accentuate the whole experience with that promise of a little bit of sunlight. Just gorgeous. So this is a view from the bridge of, I guess it's like a dam or something, I'm not sure, but the beautiful water that we just saw from where I was hiking before. So I am now wandering into Gates Park, which is just down the road from the path over to Hookah Falls. I should mention that this walk, actually there's two things to see here. One is Hookah Falls, and also there are some thermal springs that you can swim in that are free. So if you are looking for that experience and don't want to pay for it, Taupo has that for you. So I'm coming up on what looks almost like a residential area, and another really pretty view of this lake, which I imagine in the sun would have more of the amazing kind of blue-green color that is harder to see in the cloudy weather. This view is getting pretty amazing, and there are a lot of houses over here that get to have this view all the time. Just think about that. Well, it looks like I've come to the end of this walk, so I will leave you with some stellar views. So beautiful.